I just realized that Devil May Cry 5 is now 6 years old. And then there's this rumors about a new DMC game and an anime about to be released next month. So I just figured out that maybe it's time for me to share my insights about DMC5 and why I think it's the greatest action game ever made. But first, let's talk about what this game and this series did to the whole action game genre. And well, it literally inspired the creation of more than half, if not every 3D action hack and slash game ever made. And the latest game in the series is so iconic at this point that it single-handedly spawned multiple different 3D action games, taking straight inspiration to it. Genshin Impact, Punishing Grey Raven, Final Fantasy 16, even Stellar Blade, which is one of the newer hack and slash games that was released quite recently. The fifth game in the series is actually too good that normally I would recommend getting through the first game in the series so you'd build up emotions and attachment to the characters in the series, but here, I would actually recommend going straight to it just so you can experience the game that is DMC5 and just play the rest of the series if you really want to go that path. So now that that's out of the way, let's get started. The story begins with the protagonist of the last game, Nero, losing his Devil Bringer arm from a mysterious man. I mean, it's already pretty obvious who this man is by this time. But anyways, the story gets a time skip around the time where Nero is now in the Clypoth with V, and Dante and his crew is fighting the big bad guy, Urizen. Now, who is Urizen? The game tells this around halfway through the game, as the story does a lot of time skip with the cutscenes, and even the missions are sometimes not in order, but trust me, it's part of the build-up and it's all worth it at the end. Anyways, V explains to Dante who Urizen is. Basically, Urizen is a made-up code name V and Dante uses, as it basically two words combined, which is your reason.
This demon is your reason. Your reason for fighting.
As Urizen is actually Virgil, and Virgil is Dante's reason for fighting. Now, the fact that the story of Devil May Cry 5 has been built up since DMC1, which is almost 2 decades worth of build up for the story of this game, is actually mind-blowing. I remember everyone was looking forward on what's gonna happen, and people were looking forward on what the story will do with Virgil's character, as his existence has been a long mystery since the end of DMC3 and DMC1. Nobody knows if he's alive or what, and then DMC5 did one of the biggest plot twists in this series, which is fully reviving Virgil. When it finally happened, everyone was so hyped when he finally got resurrected. They never showed him in the trailers back in the days. There were absolutely no signs of him during the teasers for this game. People were even editing Dante's picture to make him look like Virgil back in the day, just so to see what Virgil could look like in DMC5, but oh boy, did Capcom took us by surprise. Now, about the character development this game did to our protagonists, Nero and Dante, it's very much well done. I already love Dante, but this game just made me love him even more. And his interactions with Virgil is just chef's kiss. And there's the character development with Nero. You know, back in DMC4, I just kinda like Nero, but he's just okay for me. I mean, not as cool as Dante because his character was straight up shonen MC, unlike Dante, who is very fun to watch. And then DMC5 happened and the game made me love him almost just as much as I love Dante and Virgil actually. I love his new kit and I love his new looks. Nero got one of the biggest glow-ups and redemptions in video game history, as he started as a devil hunter stripped by his very own devil powers, but in the end, he awakened his real devil powers through sheer will. Unlike Dante and Virgil, who unlocked their powers through violence and trauma. And I like what they did with Nero's character here. He's definitely way more likable now compared to his DMC4 counterpart, as he is way more mature now and he finally has a purpose. And I love how punky his character and his aesthetics is. He's now different from Dante because back in the day, people like to call Nero as a Dante copy, which is not true anymore because of this game. This game also has a lot of legacy fan service, as this game likes to reference the older games in the series, especially DMC1. If you play the past games in the series, you're literally in for a treat, as this game is full of references and throwbacks from the previous games. And there's also that kind of fan service. Devil May Cry has always been known for its combat since the very first game, and gradually they improved their formula, and as they improved, the combat system of the game also gradually became harder and harder. And in DMC5 they absolutely went ahead and gave us the peakest form of DMC combat it can ever get. It's so good, I don't even know how they will improve this game for the future entries, if there is one. It's also because of the fact that it's not just the combat system that is insanely well designed, but the enemies are also fun to fight. Like, the enemy variety is very good in this game, and a lot of enemies has different gimmicks with them, so you have to approach each of them differently. Some enemies has armor you have to destroy first, some enemies can parry you, some can straight teleport away. To top it all off, this game's combat revolves around being stylish and badass. I mean, the game literally rates how stylish you are. The more style points you have, the better your rewards are. Also, at the end of every mission, the game rates how good of a devil hunter you are. Like how many demons you've slain or how stylish you were throughout the whole mission. And the combo potential you can do in this game is immense. Every character has different kind of playstyles that reflects each character's personality, like how Dante's fighting style. It reflects how wacky his personality is. He's literally using a motorcycle like a chainsaw, and he uses a triple-headed nunchucks. And I just love Balrog because of its different stances. The kick mode as a capoeira stance, and blow mode which is a boxing stance. Dante is all about being wacky while being the most stylish devil hunter there is. There's literally a mechanic for Dante that you can't use unless you're at maximum style, and that is quadruple S. And this mechanic is incredibly OP when used right because Dante literally gets infinite uses of Sin Devil Trigger as long as you play around quad S. And SDT moves are OP for both Dante and Virgil. This just makes Dante's combat even more deeper, when Dante is already the most complex hack and slash character you could ever play, in my opinion. From 4 different style or stance you can switch around whenever you want, to 4 different melee weapons and guns he can equip and also switch around whenever he wants. This gives the hardcore players to have something to really master in this game, as Dante's mastery level is immensely high. I forgot to mention his taunts, which is all about Dante poking fun over the demons he is facing. He even throws a rose to launch demons up in the air for combos and stuff. That's just literally one of the wackiest things Dante can do, which is the exact opposite of what Virgil is all about. Dante's twin brother is all about being cool and calm while casually flexing his immense power. What I mean by this is that playing Virgil forces you to be calm because panicking isn't like Virgil at all. The game even senses whenever you're panicking when playing as Virgil. This is all because of the concentration meter Virgil has. This gives Virgil access to his best moves like the infamous Judgment Cut and while you have to play calm and locked in as Virgil, the game rewards you to showcase Virgil's true power by giving you access to his best moves whenever you have max concentration meter. And Virgil's taunts is not about poking fun over his enemies. Unlike Dante, it's about Virgil telling his foes that he is leagues ahead of them, and their power gap are totally universal in terms of difference.
You're wasting my time.
That's just how chill Virgil is. Anyways, unlike his twin brother, Virgil only has 3 weapons and no guns at all. He only uses summoned swords for his projectiles. His weapons are Yamato, Beowulf, and Mirage Edge. And each of his moves has a different feel to them. While Dante's moves can be wacky, Virgil's moveset are all about practicality. His slashes and punches has so much power behind them. It's as if Virgil isn't about showing off like his brother. Virgil is all about getting the job done as fast as he can. And next is Virgil's son himself, Nero, who's more about aggressive swings, but unlike his uncle and father, Nero doesn't use different weapons or guns. Nero only has 1 sword and 1 pistol. But what makes Nero's playstyle deep is his Devil Breakers and Exceed. Devil Breakers are these robot arms Nero has that has different uses and moves, depending which one Nero is using. Nero can use Punchline as a hoverboard, and Nero can use it to shoot literal laser beams with the Kebra. And my favorite is Rawhide, where Nero can mimic Virgil's Judgment Cut, which is one of my favorite details in the game. Another mechanic he has is Exceed. This is a gauge that Nero can get whenever he revs his sword after each attack like a motorcycle. And there's 3 levels of Exceed. You can get maximum Exceed if you rev your sword at the perfect time, but the timing is very tight. But the more levels you have, the more aggressive Nero's attacks would get. Another thing is Nero's Buster, that Nero gets access after getting his own Devil Trigger, which acts like a finisher move. You can use this to literally any enemy type, normal mobs to bosses, as long as you know when to use it. Lastly is his Devil Trigger, which is my favorite Devil Trigger in the series. Nero mainly gets access to 2 wild card moves in his Devil Trigger. First is Maximum Bet, which looks similar to Virgil and Dante's Overdrive move. And Showdown's probably my favorite in the whole game, where Nero pulls out a Mirage version of Yamato and does a series of slashes that just looks cool. Last character is V. Now I know a lot of people don't really like playing as V, me included, but in my opinion, the devs pulled off whatever they're trying to do with V's playstyle, because he does function properly, at least for me. I think it's just the fact that V is in a game where Dante, Virgil, and Nero exist, so he's obviously the least favorite. But anyways, V's playstyle is all about commanding his companions to do the work for him, while V acts as the finisher. V has 3 companions: Griffon, who shoots projectiles for V, Shadow is for the melee combos, and Nightmare shows up whenever V uses his Devil Trigger. Well, that's it for the combat. Now let's talk about the progression. Devil May Cry has one of the best skill tree systems in any action game in my humblest opinion. Like the way the game straight up just shows you a list of moves and you can see the moves itself and how to do it. Then if you buy it, there's a chance it has an upgraded version that you can also buy. It's such a simplistic design but very effective. It just makes getting new moves much more exciting because of the way they designed the skill tree itself. You can purchase skills with red orbs. Red orbs are the main currency in this game. Now red orbs are obtained by killing demons because red orbs are canonically demon blood. But not only that, killing demons with high level of style gives you more red orbs, so this game really does encourage you to be stylish as much as possible. Game also rewards exploration as you can find random blue orbs or gold orbs around the area. These are important as blue orbs gives you extra max HP and gold orbs are used for reviving. There's also a little bit of puzzle in this game, but it's nothing like the traditional puzzles we had in previous games or even puzzles that are like from Resident Evil games. The puzzles in DMC5 is only really found when you're trying to figure out how to enter a secret mission. Once you found the markings for a secret mission, I think this is because the devs doesn't wanna ruin the fast-paced progression anymore, as people didn't like the tedious puzzles DMC4 had. Though the little puzzles that you get by figuring out how to enter a secret mission is also kinda fun and doesn't ruin the pace at all. The game also has a game mode called Bloody Palace, where you have to finish 101 floors where you'll fight every mobs and bosses the game has to offer, but when you die you'll start at the very beginning again. This game just doesn't break any pace at all. They made DMC5 a pure adrenaline rush in every way possible, and the way they executed it is just perfect in my opinion. Easily a 10 out of 10 game, easily game of the year. This game is also one of those games that has an insanely high level of mastery like Ninja Gaiden and Sekiro. I mean, if you've asked people back in the day, way before Demon's Souls, what's the hardest 3D action game out there? Some people might say Ninja Gaiden, but there's people who would say Devil May Cry 3 or 4. Like Devil May Cry has been known for its difficulty since DMC1, and especially DMC3, like that game is incredibly hard in my opinion. And by the way, I don't just claim that lightly here. Like many gamers out there, I also like games to have some sense of difficulty and skill mastery to work onto. Though DMC5 is a much easier and a more accessible DMC game, unlike DMC3 and 4 which are insanely hard to get into. This game also offers easy mode for those who just wanna learn the game first, as the skill ceiling of this game can be really high. The game offers human difficulty, which is the easy mode, and devil hunter difficulty, which is the normal mode. Though since they kinda made DMC5's Devil Hunter difficulty kind of easier than how it was in DMC4. I actually recommend Son of Sparta difficulty more for a more definitive normal difficulty settings, since I just find Devil Hunter difficulty in this game kind of easy. Also, if you really want to challenge yourself, go play in Dante Must Die difficulty, as it's the hardest difficulty DMC games can offer. Though you can't unlock it unless you beat the game in Son of Sparta mode at least once. DMC5 has easily the most consistent cast of boss fights in the series. The only bad boss fight I can name you is the one from the first mission, but after that, you're treated with a great boss fight consistently. Every boss fight has so much personality with them, and all of them are so fun to fight. DMC5 also has the best boss fights in the whole series. Those boss fights include Cavalier, Angelo, Goliath, and the final fight with Urizen. And of course, you can't forget the Virgil and Dante boss fight. Like, I genuinely can't pick which one is the better boss fight between Dante and Virgil. Both of them are insanely fun to fight. Fighting one of these two straight up feels like a Dragon Ball Z fight, where each interaction is full of cool movements and finesse that I can't even comprehend how they managed to make this good of a boss fight design. And honestly, I just don't see any hack and slash game beating the levels Dante and Virgil boss fights reach. It's just pure genius of a duel fight. Now this part is going to be incredibly short since DMC5 doesn't really have real flaws. Most of these are just my personal gripes and complaints with the game. First is the fact that you can't play as Dante only or Nero only or V only for all the missions, as the only way to play the missions in DMC5 is the traditional way, which is divided between Nero, V, and Dante's part, except for Virgil, because Virgil's campaign is separated from the other three characters. But yeah, unfortunately you can't do a Dante only run unless you're on PC and you modded the game. The game originally had plans to make a mode where you can play only a certain character for all the missions, but they scrapped the mode for some reason, which is a shame. Another one is that we don't have a playable Trish and Lady. We had leaks back in the day about a DLC for Trish and Lady, and I mean, the ending of DMC5 is literally a setup for a Trish and Lady DLC, but they unfortunately never released it, which is again a shame. Lastly is about the goofy microtransactions, like it's a single player game. What is this for anyways? Anyways, that's it for my first video. Thank you for watching, and if you've reached this part, I just would like to say thank you for watching this video, because this is my first video. So yeah, see you guys next time.